So I'll just say this: we made the pitch to members on the resolution as a way to lower the temperature and get back to work. We decided that wasn't where we're going to go. I'm still running for speaker, and I plan to go to the floor and get the votes and win this race. But I want to go talk with a few of my colleagues. Particularly, I want to talk with the 20 individuals who voted against me.
For most votes to go to the floor, is there any way that you could hear from 5 Democrats and put your name back in as a potential speaker?
Look, every single Democrat made a choice to bring chaos. Every single Democrat decided that this was the best way forward. What's interesting, though, is the leadership of Democrats had said something different the entire time I've been here since Boehner. So I guess they changed their mind.
Mad about your comments the Sunday after you kept the
Oh, really? So they were mad I kept government open?
Well, now it's a couple weeks later.
Well, no,
you blame them. It's a couple weeks later.
Okay, that's a great question. So let's walk through that since people have thin skin, okay? So I put a bill on the floor to keep government open, and they moved to adjourn. Then they moved to delay, and then they took a magic minute. But they were upset that I acknowledged they did that? I wonder if they should have this job if that upsets them. What do you think they say about me?
Yeah, but is there any way to...
Welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. None of them should have this job. That's the bottom line. You talk about twisted things. How do you blame your party? Your party, Barrington, is in charge, and he's blaming them. We're going to talk about that chaos there, and even McHenry saying that he might just resign. It's just gotten too much. The chaos caucus continues, and we're also going to talk this morning about whether or not it's time to jail Donald Trump after his latest stunt. And also, along those lines, one of his top cronies pleaded guilty and is going to testify perhaps against the Donald. And we're also going to talk this morning about the Fugees. Pras just might get a new trial. You remember earlier this year, Pras was convicted on a government conspiracy charge that could land him up to 20 years in prison. But something stunning happened during that trial, which may get him a new trial. And an exonerated Black man was shot and killed by police. He spent all those years in prison, comes out and gets stopped by police and shot and killed. We'll tell you about that. And healthcare costs are going up for employers and employees, and it's just getting out of hand. We got the boys. They back in town, as you see on the screen. The one and only Barrington Salmon and the well-traveled Austin Cooper.
Good morning, brothers. How are you?
How y'all doing?
Good. Always good to see you, Stacy.
Oh boy, there's a caveat with that, though, right?
No. Always good to see you. That's all I'm saying.
That's it.
That's it, brother.
Oh boy.
I don't know why you doubt me.
He's nervous for some reason.
No, Barrington, you should have heard him talk about Greer before we went on the air. The stuff he had to say, it was unbelievable.
So, was it good?
All in love. But what a warning.
Oh, okay. You better be careful because he might be muted throughout the show.
I know.
I don't know. Might be something worse than that. Who knows? But guys, we saw Jim Jordan on the screen there. We saw McCarthy on the screen. Neither one of them has, it's like that throwing rocks from a glass house thing. I mean, what McCarthy said was absolutely ridiculous. There are 220. They had a majority if they were unified like one thing about it, the Democrats are unified behind their candidate. 212 Democrats are in that chamber, right? And all 212 voted for one person, Hakeem Jeffries.
17 times.
17 times now.
Mhm.
But here's the thing. So now you got complete chaos because Jordan is going to decide this morning whether or not to go back to a third vote after he yesterday said that he wasn't going to seek a third vote. Then he said, I am going to seek a third vote. And then now we hear that he's going to formally decide this morning, in about a half hour, actually, if he's going to go have another floor vote. It's chaos, Barrington.
But that's by design, brothers. They folks who have been covering them have been calling it the chaos plan, the chaos theory. The idea that 200 or 199 Republicans would support Jim Jordan is an indication of every reason why you shouldn't believe anything they do. You shouldn't trust anything they do, because he, first of all, in the real world, would not be in the House. He was the chief instigator in the House in the January 6th coup attempt. He's ignored subpoenas for the entire time that the House panel, the select committee, was investigating. He's a punk. He's a liar. He's a bully, and that's the reason why he ain't gonna win. Because they, I've been reading and hearing that Sean Hannity and his producers have been calling some of the 20 or 22 who opposed him and threatening and intimidating them, the members and their wives. And it's
the wives, they got audio tapes of messages.
Yeah, and they said credible threats and a whole bunch of stuff. And he's just trying to make it look good by talking about he's talking to them. They told him yesterday over their dead body, they're not going to vote for him. So if he can continue the vanity projects and have a third vote, but he still ain't going to win.
Now, do you believe Austin?
Is what they brought on themselves.
They brought it on themselves, yeah. And regardless of what Kevin McCarthy is saying, he's out of his mind. It's
crazy.
Like,
and,
if you're gonna jump over the ledge, go all the way over, right? McCarthy, he did this deal way back in May with the president and with Democrats, right? Everybody got a little something out of that deal. Then he reneged on the deal, which almost forced the government shutdown. And then he had to give back some of that stuff that he had reneged on. Thus, they made a deal to keep the government open temporarily. And he's blaming the other side.
Well,
they all are blaming.
And the weak-mindedness and the lack of integrity by the former speaker, who served less time as speaker than anybody in any former speaker in recent history. I think just under 276, 75 days. But this is why he is the former speaker. He compromised himself so much to get the speakership. Name one person that we know, professionally or personally, who would subject themselves to that kind of humiliation publicly. So, and with regard to Jim Jordan, and my brother Barrington hit on all of the right points. I would also add that you go to Washington, gentlemen, to be a legislator, to legislate, to pass bills, to introduce bills, and both sides should be in Congress in order to do what's right and not be so beholden to your own particular party lines, but look at the country as a whole. That's never been Jim Jordan. From the time he was elected, first came to office in 2007, exactly. Zero bills he's introduced, zero bills.
How do you become speaker then?
How do you become speaker? How do you become speaker?
In
Here's
bizarro-
another question for Barrington.
in Bizarro world, you can become speaker.
Bizarro world.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's a question, Barrington and Austin. So, as we mentioned, as we know, as you said, Barrington, 17 times Democrats said voted unanimously, 212-0 for Hakeem Jeffries to be speaker, right?
Mhm.
Jordan and he gets at most 200 votes. So you need 217. You mean to tell me that the Democrats, and I'm gonna turn it on the Democrats now. Perhaps McCarthy should have did it this way. You mean to tell me they can't convince? There's 221 Republicans there. They only need 5.
Mhm.
They only need 5. They can't convince 5 of these 22 who are supposedly hardlined against Jordan, supposedly want to get things done.
Yeah.
They can't convince 5. Why not?
Listen,
Tell me why not.
listen. We're living in a political ecosystem nationally, because I saw interviews I read of Republicans who told Mitt Romney, and he said the story when he announced that he's not running for re-election. Several people told him, "Yo, bruh, I can't vote for impeachment because if I do, they threaten to kill me, to kill
Yep.
my family."
Yep, yep.
Mhm.
All of this stuff, and I mean, even with this, Hannity and Steve Bannon have told people to call the Republicans that are against Jordan, and the offices, whether it's district offices or at the Capitol, are overwhelmed with calls, with threats, and with all of this stuff that they're going to do to them if they don't vote for Jim Jordan. So these are a bunch of thugs of the highest order, and they think that it's really interesting to me that Jim Jordan can come in your face and threaten you with bodily harm, and then I expect you to vote for him after that. Nah, bruh.
You know,
But this is
gentlemen,
what when Steve Bannon when Trump came into office, one of the first things that Steve Bannon said was that they were going to dismantle the administrative state. These guys do not want to govern.
Yep.
Because they're anti-government.
Well, Mitch McConnell was able to make some deals with Democrats, right? Mitch McConnell and the Republican Party in the Senate. Let's face it, they turned to Democrats, Manchin and Sinema when needed. So what I'm asking is, are Democrats even trying?
Trying to do what?
Trying to win over 5 vulnerable Republicans to
It doesn't matter, because if it was going to happen, it would have happened already.
Yeah. I would imagine. I cannot imagine that there have not been by Hakeem and former Speaker Pelosi and some of the others, Barbara Lee, Jim Clyburn, that they have not made overreach to at least 5. I forget the number. Barrington or Stacey, do you know how many members in the House on the Republican side came from Republican districts that supported Biden the last go round?
They said, I heard between 15 and 20.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So I mean, it would be unfathomable to me that they have not at least made outreach to get to that basic 5 number. I was thinking, last night of my time on the Hill as a staffer in the early, mid, late 80s and early 90s, and there was partisanship, but not on the level like today. I remember numerous times leaving to go home and seeing Speaker O'Neill get in his car and go down to the White House to have drinks and a cigar with President Reagan at the time. This is different. And in addition, there was not 30 years ago when I was on the Hill, there was not conservative media. There was not cable media to the degree there is today. There was not social media. There was none of it. So Sean Hannity, and Barrington just referenced, Sean is, say what you will about him, he's quite popular in America, and he has a base. And this
In
just goes
America?
to show you that all over. And his, just as he was instrumental in what happened on January 6th, he will do its best to be instrumental in terms of who's elected the next speaker.
Wow. Yeah, you got a cable TV guy making those decisions, huh?
I mean, think about it. And Barrington referenced the threat. Think about it. You are crazy enough. You are comfortable enough to call the wives, anybody's wife, but the wives, and threaten them. One Republican member, I think Buck, I forget where, Ken Buck from Texas, I believe,
Colorado.
not Colorado, thanks, has been receiving an eviction notice for his congressional office.
Yeah. And do you know how they could get Ken Buck's vote? Do you know how Jim Jordan could get Ken Buck's vote? If he has been asking him, do you believe that Joe Biden is the legitimate?
All he wants him to say.
The only thing he's asking.
That's the only thing. Only thing he wants Jim Jordan to say is that Biden won the election. Trump
That's the
lost.
only thing he's asking.
And he got his vote.
And
it's crazy.
Why is it crazy?
It's crazy that Jim Jordan is still holding out.
But he's
not the only one.
He's Trump's lap poodle.
Yep.
He's
Matt Gaetz, all of them.
Yeah. So he's taking his orders from Donald Trump. Listen. He helped orchestrate January 6th.
Right.
Which is why he couldn't go to the committee to testify.
Yeah, and he continues to send crazy letters to Fonnie Willis down in Georgia.
He tried to derail Alvin Bragg's investigation. He tried to derail. He called Alvin Bragg. He called Fonnie Willis, and who's the other one? And he called
Jack Smith.
Jack Smith. I don't know if he called. Did he mess around with Jack?
Jack Smith is the only other prosecutor. Unless he's talking about the Letitia James.
Letitia,
that's who it was. It wasn't Jack.
Remember he went to New York to have this.
That's right.
Hearing?
Yes.
Yeah. He's an idiot.
And remember, gentlemen, on January 6th, when all hell was breaking loose, and Liz Cheney would try to get out of, get to safety, Jim Jordan put his arm, offered to help her, and she yanked away and said, "Get out of here. You're the reason we're here."
Oh, she didn't say get out of here. She said she had a little more colorful language in that.
Yeah, she added some Barrington language there.
I was just about to say.
Which he deserved. He deserved it.
Exactly.
And to me, the moral rot of the Republican Party and politics in general is illustrative of the fact that they want to put this one as House Speaker.
That is amazing. House Speaker, listen, you can't get anything legislatively done without a speaker. With the president is asking for billions of dollars in aid for Israel and Ukraine. You can't get that done without a House Speaker. You cannot keep the government open without a House Speaker. So this is that's what they want. The chaos.
Yeah,
the chaos.
And when do we have to make a decision on the budget deal? November 17th.
November 17th.
Remember, it was a 45-day extension before all hell broke loose with Speaker McCarthy. And next Tuesday will be 3 weeks that we have been without a speaker.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
And that is absolutely insane, especially considering, the U.S. State Department issued a travel advisory for every destination in the world because of what's going on in
every destination in the world.
Every destination, any foreign travel, there's a travel advisory that was issued yesterday. They're telling American citizens to be on guard wherever you might go. So I'm trying to hope that it clears up before my trip in January.
It's what?
This craziness.
Listen, retired General Petraeus said yesterday that if you're getting ready to embark on urban warfare, it's going to take at least a decade for them to get anything that resembles a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have an overseas trip planned.
Okay. I hope you have 2 passports.
You said 2?
Yeah.
Why do I need 2?
I have a lot of friends who travel, depending on where they travel with their passport, and other places they travel with a U.S. passport. That's a common
thing. So you're talking about dual citizenship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Power 96 is traveling to Mississippi. He hoped that third world state, that third world state is on the list.
He might not come back. He might not come back.
Listen, you on your own. I would rather listen. There's a lot of other places I'd rather go.
Yeah, I'd rather go overseas than Mississippi.
Listen, so guys, is it time finally to put Donald Trump in jail? So the judge in New York had placed the gag order. Not only did Trump blow through that gag order, but he actually posted Letitia James's home address.
Yeah.
On Truth Social.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is way beyond a situation where you say, well, we're going to have to sanction him again. The only thing, and I think, let me throw this out there. Do you think he wants to be jailed right now?
Of course.
Yeah, part of his
I think so.
That's part of the master plan, because then that will be the final piece of his total victimization that he's presenting to his followers.
Well, I say we ought to give it to him.
Yeah, I agree.
I say we ought to answer his prayers, answer his desires. I mean, that's just despicable. And he only did it. The only reason he would do that is to bring harm to her.
Yeah.
And her family.
Yeah.
But did you
put
see
him in jail?
Did you
and
see?
I don't want to hear the nonsense about.
Well, I don't know very well. I wish him luck. He's a Democrat. I wish him luck. But what I did see and what you just saw was what took place in the courtroom just now. And it's a disgrace that this case was brought. It's election interference. That's what they're doing, because I'm here. I said I've been campaigning, and I guess I just heard there's a CNBC poll that has me way ahead of Biden.
I am campaigning, sir.
Because I want to be at this trial, because I want to see what's happening at this trial. And because moments like this have just knocked this trial down to a level that it should be dismissed. This trial is a disgrace. This trial is a disgrace. Should have never been brought. And if you watch what just took place in the courthouse, if you report it honestly, and I'm sure you will, because there's really no other way you can report it, the government lied. They knew everything about what just took place. And the government lied, and they lied to the people. The Attorney General lied because she wanted to get elected by using Trump. And if you look at what just took place, the government has been now proven to be a liar. And there has to be some kind of recourse for what's going on. And that's why I'm here. Because if I wasn't here, probably maybe people wouldn't see the facts the way they are. So we'll go inside and we'll watch the rest of it. And I think you'll find it very interesting.
He's called me venomous. He's called me disgraceful. He's called me radical. He's called me a racist. And this is only week 3. None of his behavior, which can best be described as performative, will change what's happening in the courtroom. The courtroom, as you know, where we have submitted evidence, and the evidence is clear. And that is, he inflated his statements of financial interests to enrich himself and his family. And nothing will change that.
So Power 96 says Trump is trying to be the great white victim, and Monique Daniels says he's trying to prove he's the Teflon Don.
Well, thus far he has been the Teflon.
Thus far he has been.
Don.
Yeah.
You know,
But this is absolutely out of control. And again, we saw at the top of the show, Greer showed us McCarthy spewing craziness that didn't happen, and Trump talking about what the government lied. So what happened was his own CFO actually lied on the stand. And this is why there was chaos there yesterday, because his own CFO was found to have lied. In fact, Forbes magazine had called the lie out, and the court got wind of it.
Yeah,
because it contradicts his testimony. And this is a guy that's already been in jail.
Yep. But the thing that just like boggles my imagination is that a 75-year-old dope would prefer to go to prison than tell the truth about the financial misdeeds and malfeasance that he and Trump have been involved with for more than 30 years.
You know,
there's loyalty and there's stupidity.
By the way, Barrington,
and this is stupidity.
He's 77.
Okay,
No.
27. But listen, did you see the headline that Greer put up? Even though he has broken the gag order, it said he may have broken the gag order.
Right. He broke the gag.
What the hell?
Right, right. Well, here's something else that happened yesterday that should be of concern to Donald Trump too.
Yeah.
Austin, what happened?
His buddy, his comrade in the struggle of ignorance and stupidity,
The struggle of ignorance.
Sidney Powell, pleaded guilty. She's cut a deal. She's singing like a canary.
You would be pleading guilty to today.
I do, sir.
And you've heard all the rights that the state has gone through that you would waive by going forward with this plea. Do you still wish to waive those rights?
I do.
And are you pleading guilty today because you agree that there is a sufficient factual basis, that there are enough facts that support this plea of guilty?
I do.
Mr. Rafferty, are you satisfied your client is competent in understanding that the plea is voluntary and that there is a sufficient factual basis for entering this plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
There you have it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep. You know, I heard someone say yesterday, "I'd rather drop the dime than do the time."
Yeah.
That's what that's what Sidney is singing.
But that's what the both of you been saying for the whole time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely. Oh no. Oh no. No. No.
Make no mistake about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would drop a lot of dimes. I'll take the dimes out of Stacy's pocket and throw them on the ground before I go to prison.
Yeah.
But this is significant.
This is just the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's significant. It's the second guilty plea in that. You know, Jim Jordan keeps sending letters to Fonnie Willis, but look, her case apparently is working because now that's her second guilty plea of those 19, along with Trump, who was indicted a couple of months ago and had to turn themselves in. And now it's the second, and this is significant because she's a lawyer. She was his lawyer.
Yep.
She knows everything that was going on. She was right in the middle of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Most of those 19 were not in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
She was in the Oval Office.
Yep. Sphincters are tight in Mar-a-Lago today.
Yeah.
David Youngblood says that he has all defendants in Georgia pleading to the charges, leaving just Trump and Giuliani. Then he predicts that Giuliani will then cop a plea, leaving that brother as the only one, he says, who actually goes to jail. The brother is a diehard fool. Yeah, the black guy he's talking about.
Yep. What's his name? Terrio? Was that Terrio? Who was that?
No, that's not Terrio.
No.
But you know that he said he's running for office, right?
Yeah.
And he's running for Congress.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody's running. Hey, we might as well. He now look. He's been arrested. He's got the cred now to run for Congress.
But here's the thing for me. In Jamaica, they always say God not sleep. God's not sleeping. And for years, there's been this narrative that white people are more intelligent, that they're smarter, that they're more savvy, and all this stuff, right? And I just have to chuckle every day that I get up and hear the news or read the paper to see the foolishness. You know, we used to be bombarded with American exceptionalism. Oh, America wouldn't do that. Look at what's going on and filling the country, right? These people ain't no different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ain't no different. And the thing that has always deterred me is that they would prefer to destroy the country rather than give space to anybody who's not white and so-called Christian. That's what this is about. They're holding on to power any way that they can because they see their power slipping away as the demographics in this country changes.
And the sad thing is that almost all of these, criminal defendants, be it Washington, be it Georgia, really believe in what they did in the days leading up to January 6th.
Yeah.
I mean, in their gut, they really believe it. I mean, they're just, cutting deals to avoid jail time. But in their heart of hearts, including Sidney Powell, I don't think that clown believes that she did anything wrong. She's just saving her own hide. Look at the one or two defendants who were, before the judge, crying and pleading for mercy. And then when the judge, dropped the hammer on them, turned to the courthouse and turned to the reporters and started talking nonsense again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the thing too is that I don't know of a clearer example of white people believing that they have impunity, that they can do what they want without any accountability, without responsibility. I mean, this is the way that they've been doing it. And they really and truly expected that everything that they did, they could just walk. And Greer made a good point. That woman is a nutcase.
Yes.
She said crack is a hell of a
She's
drug.
certifiable. She's certifiable. Because the foolishness that's come out of her mouth. What's his name? He was Obama's former Solicitor General. He's always on MSNBC. He said that for all the years of this woman's legal career, the only sensible, reasonable thing that she's done ever as a lawyer was to plead guilty.
Yeah, yeah. Now, as part of her plea deal, does she lose her law license?
That's a good question. She has to.
She's about to lose it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't do that foolishness and
she's done.
Yeah, she's done.
She's done. So her hope will be that she doesn't have to say too much about Donald Trump. And if he I know.
No. Don't even try.
You know what? But here's the thing. She is certifiable, as you guys said, right? Here's the thing that you got to be careful with some of these folks, that they are willing to fall on the sword for him. So they may take a deal. Yeah. Then comes time to testify. They may say something totally different, which would then put reasonable doubt in play, or at the very least, a mistrial in play. And if a you think about it, Barrington, like you said, these folks, they're a different breed. This is not Ronald Reagan's generation. This is not George H.W. Bush's generation. This is the MAGA people. These people are, many of them are certifiable.
But the fact that old boy, 77-year-old in New York, lied, it doesn't derail the case, and it doesn't. All it does is make him look good in Trump's eyes. But everything that we've seen so far shows that Trump is a liar and a thief.
Yep. Yeah, the one thing that Trump has, that's the one big thing that's going against Trump in that trial with Tish James is the fact that his lawyers messed up from the beginning by not requesting a jury trial. So he can do all the performative things that he's been doing. That's not going to sway a jury. He's trying to persuade public opinion. He's cooked in New York as far as his business is concerned. There's no question about that.
Look, did you guys read that one of his lawyers is not a member of the bar?
No, I didn't read that. Jesus.
Yeah, they said that some paperwork that he submitted. They said, I think Laura's his name. They said he's not a member of the bar. But homeboy gets only the best of everything.
He's only getting lawyers out of crackerjack boxes.
Listen, by the way, Michelle Madison is with you and I, Austin. She says she would sing like Patti LaBelle and Anita.
But here's the deal with regard to Barrington's point. Perhaps it was you, Stacey. If Sidney Powell gets on the stand and starts, playing crazy and having amnesia, can Fonnie Willis rescind her plea deal?
Well, no, if she breaks the plea deal, she gets the 6 years in prison.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what's interesting is that I was hearing that her lawyer went to Jack Smith to try to make a deal, and Jack Smith told her to go sit in the corner.
Yeah, I heard that.
She's one of the unindicted co-conspirators. And plus, she's also she has a $1.2 billion lawsuit from Dominion. So
that's right.
She got a long way to go, Brad.
And Dominion won that. Remember,
they won.
Dominion won that big suit against Fox.
$1 billion against Fox.
That caused what's his name to lose his job. The crazy one. What's his name?
Murdoch.
Not Murdoch. The guy that's now on.
Not sure. Tuckums.
Tuckums.
That's what Joy Reid calls him.
Tuckums. Yeah. But each of these defendants need to be thinking. Right or wrong, there's only one Trump. And the mistake that many of them make is thinking that they are going to, be able to potentially, get out of all of this, because they are like Trump. You can only be one crazy, deranged.
Oh, you see,
Trump.
what's the name? Was it Carrie Lake who tried to be like him
Yeah,
out there
in Arizona? Mhm.
Arizona, and she kept suing and going to court saying that she still won't say she lost her election.
Mhm.
But she's a footnote now.
Yeah. But she's running for Senate, U.S. Senate. But what this reminds me of, I remember when crack just started.
Crack. Here we go. Crack.
Back to crack.
You smoke crack, don't you, boy?
I was in Tallahassee writing when crack just began to take a stranglehold in Tallahassee, and I met a guy who was a former butcher, made like between $80,000 and $90,000 a year, had a house, had a family, and decided, let me try some of this and see how that works out. Lost his house, lost his family, lost his job, and he said to me, I thought I could handle it. And I said, Brad, you see the devastation everywhere around you. You see all these black people sitting around on the street, laying on the street. You see women selling themselves for $1, and you thought you could handle it. All these people are thinking that Trump's going to treat them differently than all the other people that he's done this. Right? It's foolishness. It's madness. It's hubris. It's arrogance. Because Trump should be running, people should be running from him as quickly as they can. Look at Walt Nader.
I was just about to say, yep. Still by his side. Still by his side. Even yesterday.
He's still by his side.
Beautiful ballet. Yep.
Well, even the black guy you mentioned in Georgia who was stuck in jail all that for several weeks before he finally got out. He was the only one. And
you know what happened when he got out, Stacey?
What happened?
I think they said he raised like $700,000 on a GoFundMe. So it works. It works.
Wow. That's something else. Well, you know what? It's going to be an interesting day.
Yeah, in fact, Jim Jordan is supposed to be holding a press conference around now.
Whether
he's going to have a call for a vote at 10 o'clock for another round of rejection.
He's probably going to do it again.
He's going to do it again.
Yeah,
he'll do it again.
Look, unless they made some sort of overnight deal, he's I can't. Why wouldn't he not? Right? Because now you got McHenry saying, I'm not sitting in this chair any longer.
No, but McHenry said he wouldn't sit in the chair if they chose him as a temporary speaker.
Right. It's like they shouldn't happen that way.
But they said that the House rules don't even account for that. So whatever they did, if they did it, it was something that they've never done before. But they keep on saying that the people in the House can do what they want. So, hey. But it is delicious.
I know
that is delicious.
I know one member. I know one member who's willing to throw his hat in the ring for speaker again.
Yeah, Kevin McCarthy. Dope. He's a damn dope.
He's like, I got another 15 rounds of humiliation.
But guys, so Greer raises this point, which shouldn't be overlooked, can't be overlooked. She says these folks are delusional. If Jim Jordan got that seat, Kamala Harris better watch her back. Why does she say that? Because that makes him third in line for the presidency.
Yeah.
And I think that you can't understate that or overstate that, I should say. Because there's this idea that if he can get that seat, the chaos that we see now would probably be nothing compared to what we will see if he gets that seat. But and then you have the crazies.
Yeah. But somebody made the point yesterday that it was David Jolly, former Republican. Used to be, he's no longer affiliated with Republicans. He said that if Jordan gets House Speaker, the plan is to ensure that they steal the election in 2024 if Trump is gone.
Well, they put everything else in place, right?
Yeah.
They got the courts in place. They have all the Board of Elections in place.
They have the supermajorities because of gerrymandering and redistricting.
The infrastructure is in place.
So they got the $1.6 billion from the Heritage Foundation, the Koch brothers, and all those networks.
The
That's
Koch
good.
brothers actually, Koch just put several more was it $4 billion into it again?
Yeah.
Just what, a week ago?
Yeah.
So they have their plan well laid, and Jim Jordan or somebody like Jim Jordan
It's a part of that plan.
is a part of that plan without question. So guys, here you talk about, here's something that's interesting. Moving on. So the Fugees took the stage this week as a reunion with Lauryn Hill. But while that's going on, you know, one of the Fugees, Pras Michel, he had earlier this year been convicted of charges that fraud against the U.S. government, working with a Chinese operation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, where he is at sentencing, he's expected to get at least 20 years in prison. Well, his new lawyers have filed a motion to dismiss the verdict and give him a new trial because the lawyer that defended him drafted his closing arguments using AI. It was a complete artificial intelligence drafted closing argument. If that's not malpractice, what is?
Is that Wayne Newton looking dude beside him he talking about?
Wayne Newton.
David Kenner is the lawyer's name.
Is this the one he talking about? He looked like he dead.
Yeah.
Because if I went into a law office and he was talking about representing me, I ain't doing it.
No, he does look embalmed. He does look embalmed.
Yeah, he
when you
look
look
like
at
he's
him closely.
embalmed.
Wow.
Wait, like Shannon Sharp the other day when they did all that makeup. Oh my God, what was Shannon Sharp thinking?
He's thinking that the makeup people know more than he does about makeup, so he just sit in the chair.
It was Shannon Sharp looked like he was embalmed.
Yeah. but do you think that's a good case though? A good.
That's my question. I wish we should have called Attorney Tara, but I wonder. That is, so he just relied on a machine to tell him, and Pras, the defendant himself. You say, okay, a lot of the lawyer's actions, the court, and understandably so, holds against the defendant, right?
Yeah.
Because you hired that person to be your mouthpiece, to be your spokesperson, to stand up for you, to talk for you. But this part of it, I'm not sure, unless they can say that Pras okayed this. I'm not sure. David, I was hoping to hear from David Young, but he says, if true, the lawyer who used AI for closing has a great argument for overturning the verdict. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I would think so as a non-lawyer. Yeah.
So wait now. So if Pras had won, then what?
Okay, well then it shows you. If he won, it would have shown how weak the case was. But here the problem is the fact that his lawyer would, in a case like that too, we're not talking about some misdemeanor situation. We're talking about major federal charges.
Wayne Newton needed some help, bruh.
Wayne.
He needed some help. He turned to AI.
Yeah, and he wasn't focused on this case. I mean, I would love to know how much Pras was paying him, but I'm sure it was a sizable amount. And he was not focused until, night before trial, he just sat on his computer and wrote this up with the help of artificial intelligence.
You know what I would say, brothers? Pras should have had a black lawyer.
Well, here's what his current lawyer says, that by using an experiment, so it's more to the story too. By using an experimental AI program. Now, this AI program that he used was something that Kenner, the lawyer, invested in. It's a new AI tool that he invested in too. So that's another problem. But the lawyer says by using that tool for his closing arguments, he botched the quote single most important portion of a jury trial. That closing argument, listen, that's why you see on TV they generally go to the closing arguments real quick on TV shows, not only to save time, but because it really comes down to a lot of times, and David can chime in on this as well. A lot of times it comes down to that closing argument.
Yeah,
right.
these attorneys spend so much time on it. But he apparently only spent a few minutes telling his AI program to do so.
He was probably doing it in the car, riding over to the courthouse with Pras at his side.
No, he was doing it while he got the formaldehyde drip.
He got what? Oh my God! So Pras's charges. Well, he was convicted of federal charges of conspiring with this Malaysian fugitive. He's a fugitive now, Joe Low, in 3 alleged lobbying schemes to influence 2 different presidential administrations, including Barack Obama. His new lawyers said that the former lawyer, his defense was just woefully inadequate, in part because of the AI program called iLevel.ai. And also he said the judge had erred in allowing some testimony to be heard that was attorney-client privilege as well. So that trial, if anybody, I don't think many people followed that trial, because I remember talking about it a few months ago. Leo DiCaprio testified at that trial. Jeff Sessions, the former U.S. Attorney General, testified at that trial as well. It was a very interesting trial because at one point they was going to call Barack Obama as a witness.
Really? Wow.
Let's see how that would have worked. Lauren Hill should be very, very careful of the company she keeps, because other one is a crook.
Are we talking about Wycliffe?
Wycliffe. They said he raised all this money for donations for Haiti.
Oh, right.
Haiti.
That's right.
Right. And then this one. So she should be very careful of the company she keeps.
Well, Lauren must have said, it's funny how money changes the situation. Miscommunication leads to complications.
Yeah.
Because her emancipation certainly didn't fit the equation there.
Yeah.
But I think it's really sad now that we've gotten this far where in a serious trial like that you use AI to craft your closing argument. And the man himself, Memphis Jokes, is watching us this morning. Memphis had the one and only Chuck D on his show the other night. I got to check it out. Go over to Memphis Jokes' show and check him out with Chuck. Chuck, of course, Memphis is a Chuck D artist who loves doing his podcast. And we enjoy watching Memphis and his podcast. But you can't do this, Barrington. You can't sit there in your car, as you said. Austin said, driving in his car. Put the closing argument. Say, hey, give me a closing argument for Pras.
But I have been trying to follow the whole debate discussion thing with AI, and I don't know. Everybody's saying that AI. There's no way that AI is not going to become a very important part of
the future.
Already.
Oh, it is. The president has crafted some executive orders about AI. There's been a lot of things going on. People talked about going into the digital age. Well, now it's the artificial intelligence age.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
here we are.
I guess because one of the things that people have really been griping about is just the fact that like it's changing the landscape of education.
Totally.
And I've talked to teachers who said that these young people just do AI and are not bright enough to understand that they got to change up the stuff that they get, and they have not monitors, but they have software that can tell them whether or not they've used software to for their tests, for their papers, and that type of thing. And with the strength, and I'm being sarcastic, of American education, this is just another stone to weigh it down, because educationally the country is way behind the rest of the world, and young people aren't being taught in the ways that would make them really marketable and able to navigate a very complex and crazy world.
Yeah.
So AI just becomes another problem that teachers, educators have to deal with.
Well, yeah. Gosh, I was trying to make out what Greer was saying there. But anyway, guys, a Florida man who was exonerated after serving more than 16 years for a crime he did not commit was shot and killed by a deputy in Georgia during a traffic stop. A Camden County deputy. This is such a sad story. Ben Crump is now taking this case, by the way. A Camden County deputy stopped the Leonard Allan Cure, who's 53 years old, on I-95 at around 7:30 a.m. on Monday, and there was no information given as to the reason why he was pulled over in the first place or what led to the traffic stop. But he got out of the vehicle supposedly at the deputy's request and complied with the officer's commands. This is from the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Complied with the officer's command until learning that he was under arrest. Now, he had been exonerated and released in
vehicle
20.
in the name of who? In the name of the law of the state of Georgia. Step back here now, or you're getting tased. Watch me now. Put your hands on the back of that truck. Do you see that? Put your hands on the back of that truck. The back of the truck. Both hands. Turn around. 34. Can you send me another unit? One non-compliant.
Non-compliant.
How's he non-compliant?
Your name is Officer who? Staff Sergeant Aldridge with the Camden County Sheriff's Office. Who county? Camden County. Put your hand behind your back. Do I have a warrant? Wait. No. Excuse me. Either put your hands behind your back or you're getting tased. I'm telling you that right now. Why am I getting tased? Because you are under arrest for speeding and reckless driving. I'm not driving. Nobody was hurt. How was I speeding? You passed me doing 100 miles an hour. Okay, so that's a speeding ticket, right? Sir, tickets in the state of Georgia are criminal offenses. I don't have a ticket in Georgia. You do now? Why? You passed me doing 100 miles an hour. And what? Am I going hands to jail? Behind your back. Yes, you are going to jail. Hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
It's hard to watch. Absolutely hard to watch. He obviously, there's several things going on there, including the fact that this guy had spent 16 years in prison. He probably something triggered in his head, and that taser only further triggered him. Once he was tased, then he attacked. Yeah, it's hard to find words. And another deputy came along and shot and killed him.
Oh, another deputy did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, another.
And so that is, but Attorney Ben Crump said that he's going to take the case. He believes that this was a situation where he could have just got a ticket, and that was that.
Was he really going 100 miles an hour?
So that's also in dispute how fast he was going. But he obviously, according to his family, was triggered by law enforcement and the fact that this.
Can you blame him?
And that's part of what they're saying too.
They stole 16 years of his life.
They stole 16 years of his life.
And you saw how he started panicking when the officer threat said he's under arrest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's this the shooting that killed him is the 80th officer involved shooting this year.
Yeah.
80th.
You see what Greer said? The officer radioed shots fired before he shot him.
The officer radioed shots fired before he, that was the other part. I'm glad she brought that up. Yeah, when I saw that yesterday, I was thinking the same thing. So he knew he was going to shoot him. He planned to shoot him.
Yeah.
And watching, there's another part of that video that shows that I guess we're not going to show it, but he did yell, shots fired, shots fired. And at least a full minute went by before he fired the first shot. After him saying shots fired, shots fired.
America continues to be the killing fields, particularly for Black and marginalized people. And that's why I say burn the whole goddamn thing down, because they keep on saying, oh, we can reform it. You can't reform this. And every day, the ground in this country is soaked with the blood of innocent people. And for me, you know, them idiots in Congress and all these other Republican, generally, primarily elected officials, this is what they should be working on.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this brother was targeted.
He might have been.
Well, one of the things that happens a lot, which is to me is really telling, is that when someone is after they've had to do whatever they did to prove their innocence, and the Innocence Project took up his case and helped prove he was innocent, is once you're proven innocent, they are reluctant to open the jails and let you out. You have to still go through a whole nother process.
But that's because they use it as if it's some tally. Oh, I have 90 wins, or 90% of my wins, all that stuff. So it's a tally that they use. And if you are a prosecutor and your case is overturned, so and so innocent, that looks bad on you. So it's ego-driven garbage.
Quinn says that I wonder how they would police if they had non-lethal rounds. They rely on their guns for safety instead of policing the situation. And there's another great point too. It's there are ways in which you can get a control of it. You know, the training, again, we talk about the training. That's first and foremost. Train how to de-escalate a situation, right?
But they only de-escalate when they're dealing with white people. They don't de-escalate when they're dealing with Black people, because the common narrative is that we're animals.
We're animals. Yeah.
That we're savage. Yeah. That we're dangerous. And as long as we have qualified immunity, and we have people able to say, "I feared for my life," this won't stop.
So we're going to talk about next week, Barrington. Speaking of qualified immunity, so there's a case that's going on now that's headed toward the Supreme Court, that sometimes they do things and accidentally get the results that they don't want, that everyone else needs. And there's a case, and we'll tell you more about it next week, in which qualified immunity could actually go away.
Oh, really?
Very quiet, and now it's on its way to the Supreme Court. But it's about it came along in another case emanating out of Florida, and we'll go into it next week. We've run out of time here. It's 8:30 on the East.
Representative Ayanna Presley has a piece of legislation that would end qualified immunity.
She has a legislation, but the Supreme Court is probably going to get this first. It's on the fast track.
And you trust them?
No. Well, so again, that's why we got to go into it next week, because there are other elements of that they're going to have to consider it. They can't break it up. So if they're going to make a decision on this one case, it's going to affect it all. So
up or down.
Yep. Okay. So we'll see. Sometimes when you hate so bad, it blinds you to everything else.
Exactly.
So there you go. Folks, we'll bring you that. And real quick, I promised at the beginning to tell you about healthcare workers. Well, the annual cost of family health insurance coverage at work soared to an average of $24,000 this year. That's up 7% from last year, with employees shelling out an average of $6,575 for their share of the premium, which is up close to 8% from last year, and it's only expected to go up
higher. Yep.
Yeah. For single coverage, the average annual premium rose $8,435, rose to $8,435, up 7% from last year. So it's no matter where you turn, Barrington, Austin?
It's
Especially here,
theft
especially
by
here
another name.
in the U.S.
It's theft by another name, and I don't know what it's going to take for Americans to do like what the French do, because when they try this garbage in France and England,
Protest.
yeah, not just protests, they be burning some shit down.
Yeah, yeah.
Here we go.
You know, my daughter Ashley is leaving for. She's been in Seoul for the last 9 years teaching English, and she's coming home tomorrow for good. But she texted me before we came on the air and said she just left the pharmacy. You know, Daddy, I know I'm coming back to America, so I got 6 months of my meds for $45 USD.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
The big pharma has us by the short hairs.
Yep.
Because when you go anywhere else in the world, the cost of medicine is much less than it is here, and add to that a shitty healthcare system in what they claim to be the wealthiest, most powerful country in the world. It's some foolishness, man.
Yeah, totally. Well, the boys are back in town. It's always good to have Barrington and Austin together. Barrington's looking like he wants to start trouble, but Austin and I are not going down.
Looking like?
Yes.
Yeah, Canary 1 and Canary 2. That's fine.
That's right. We're not going down with you.
I got a shot.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.